Episode number 136 of Making the Case. Does religion even impact modernity anymore? Let's get into it. What up, YouTubians? We are back with another episode of Making the Case, episode number 136, and we talking about religion and its impact in modernity. Of course, I'm your gracious host, Dr. Jacob Isom. We get two channel norms over here. One, we attack points and not people, and then two, we don't do all that cussing derogatory stuff because we're professional over here. All right. So let's get into it. I feel like this is a topic we've definitely broached before on this channel. Some episodes back, I don't know, we've done so many, I can't even keep up. But it's an important conversation to have for a couple of different reasons. One, we can't always bring up the fear of God and loving God and religion this and religion that, but not actually act in accordance with what we're saying, right? And then two, it's always a great idea to open up and engage in conversation about beliefs, about religious systems, about morals, ethics, and things of that nature, right? And we know morals and ethics are not, they're not tied to religion, although they are, right? But they still are a separate thing outside of religion. A lot of times we like to say they're just, stuck within a religious framework, but they're not, right? So I always hear all the time, I'm looking for a God fearing person, or if you don't worship Jesus, Jesus this, Jesus that, God this, God that, which is cool because, of course, we understand our First Amendment give us the right from religious freedom, right? But at the end of the day, I think what we see is that, well, one, we're very judgmental, right? And of course, we're going to be very particular about what we believe and what we don't believe, and a lot of it's going to be unseen, right? I was about to post the other day, but I decided not to. But I think this is a perfect time to express it. Is that I think a lot of people believe in heaven and hell versus unity in the physical form, right? Whether that's racial unity, political unity, or what have you, right? Something that we can see in real time that I don't think we believe in, but we believe in heaven and hell that nobody can actually verify, which is a tough pill to swallow, which is why I think having these conversations are very important. Okay. So the purpose of this episode is just, have a little open dialogue about why don't we see religion impacting our morals, our values, our behavior, our actions, and things of that nature, because you got a lot of people saying they believe in God, yet they acting totally different, right? They're not following the word that they say they follow. And a lot of times the reason why you don't see this conversation a lot on YouTube, on TV, or anywhere else is because most people are believers, and then most people don't want to get called out for their lack of faith, their lack of belief. Okay. Which I guess is fair, but anywho, so I got a couple of clips that I want to share with you, and then we're just gonna have a conversation on behind why people believe that there's a lack of an impact of religion nowadays. All right, so stay tuned. Let's get it.
You find extremism everywhere. I don't mean only, Islam. Those extremists, what do they say? We love God. So the common word is telling us you cannot love God without loving your neighbor. If you claim you love God whom you don't see and hate your sister and brother whom you see every day, then you are liars. And unfortunately, we have many liars in our world, you see, who do not love their neighbor as themselves.
And this is a sentiment that I often express that I really don't understand. If the stats are what they say they are, and I believe they are, that over 80% of people believe in a higher power, a God, or attached to a religion, right? That means that, and I'm sticking with the United States, right? But I believe that stats pretty much hold true worldwide, right? That means that majority of people, a high majority of people that should be acting in accordance to what they believe in, right? Should be, right? But how can you deify something you've never seen, you only witness quote unquote spiritually and emotionally, right? But treat a person that you can literally touch, taste, feel, all that good stuff, right? But you treat them like crap. We kill each other, we bully each other, we talk bad on each other. So how can you treat your brother and your sister like that, but then claim to love something that you can't see? See, I don't understand it. And I think a lot of people do get discouraged by that, which is why religion doesn't really have an impact, because how can you say you are a lover of God and you're afraid of God when your actions say something totally different? All right. So I just think that's one of the reasons why religion don't have an impact, because people are not actually love. If the Bible says love thy neighbor, it don't appear that we're doing a great job of that. All right. Let's get into my next clip.
So basically, whenever secularization is what we call the process whereby religion weakens or disappears in a society over time. Now, there have been many theories to explain how this might happen, and some of those are sort of general, universal theories of secularization, saying, no matter what society we're in, no matter what country, if X happens, the result is going to be a weakening of religion. And these are kind of, universal theories. So the big universal theories are, well, as populations get more educated, strong religious belief tends to go down. As societies become more technologically advanced, religiosity tends to weaken a little bit. The biggest theory that I have has the most data is what they call the existential security theory, which is basically that when people in a society are existentially secure, meaning they have, food, shelter, a relatively stable government, access to medicine and healthcare, and life is essentially more or less secure, barring, some extreme. Those societies tend to have religiosity go down. Societies that are more racked with more precarious situations, life is nasty, Brutus, and short, housing is scarce, jobs are scarce, health and medicine are scarce, there's political instability, a lot of war, corrupt governments. Those societies tend to have higher levels of religiosity. And tend is the operative word here. It's not an absolute. We work in tendencies, correlations, and averages as social scientists. So on average, societies that are most secure, where people have the best housing, health care, job situation, stable governments, democracies, they tend to be more and more secular. Religion tends to weaken there. And in societies that are racked with more social problems and life is more precarious for your average person, religion tends to be strong there. So that's the bigger, larger picture.
And I think all of those are great points that he pointed out. Of course, as a society become more educated, whether that's science, history, or what have you, right? Anthropology, ecology, like the list goes on. All right, we started putting pieces together, and we start, answering questions that 1,000, 2,000 years before we could not answer. Right, so it goes back to that comfort, right? And of course, technology making things easier, more comfortable. And then his last point, or the whole idea of once we literally are comfortable because of the technology, because of the education, hey, we got a place to stay, we got food to eat, right? So we tend to not believe less, but religion tend to have less of an impact because now we know that we're literally good because of what we physically do, right? We physically build homes. We physically go out there and farm, right? We know that it's not some power that is bringing this to us, right? Even though we can say that, well, God make it all possible, right? But at the end of the day, we know we can't sit on our hands and make it possible. So there is some reality to that, even though people will still say believe in heaven and hell and still believe in Jesus walk on the water and stuff like that, right? But these are just myths. These are just things that, of course, that they're stories, right? That has been passed down from generation to generation, right? Just like the whole idea of gift giving on Christmas. So why you see less of an impact of religion is because now we know that we literally can survive, um, even though God may be in the background, he's not in the forefront like he used to be thousands of years ago, if that makes sense. All right, I got one more clip I want to show you, and we're gonna wrap this thing on up. Let's get it.
We've all assimilated this idea that we should respect other people's religious beliefs. Your neighbor has the right to believe whatever he wants to about God and the moral structure to this universe. He has the right to believe whatever he wants to about what happens after death, and you should respect these beliefs merely because he believes them. Where else in our discourse do we play by these rules? When was the last time anyone in this room was admonished to respect another person's beliefs about history or geography or engineering or medicine? We do not respect people's beliefs. We evaluate their reasons. If my reasons are good enough, you will helplessly believe what I believe. That is what it is to be a rational human being. Reasons are contagious. If I came on the stage and said that the Holocaust never happened, you would be under no burden whatsoever to respect my beliefs. We don't respect the beliefs of people who think Elvis is still alive, and the people who make all those crazy pilgrimages to Graceland. These people do not get invited to sit on our boards of directors. They don't become presidents of universities. I mean, that is all well and good, except when you change the subject to God, and then all bets are off. Then the sky's the limit. You can be certain with zero evidence and respected for it. It is taboo to push the conversation into criticism of your beliefs.
And I think the whole idea of this concept is something that people really shy away from, right? But we know it to be true, right? So the whole idea of, well, we can question things that we can physically see, right? Things that is in reality to us, things that is matter, energy, right? We can question it, like, and we will question it, right? We'll question your political stance. We'll question your knowledge on vehicles or what have you, right? But we can't question your religious belief because it's yours to have and yours to hold on to. And we got to respect that, right? So I think that's what a lot of people are starting to kind of shy away from. We know the numbers say that a lot of people are leaving church, right? A lot of people are shying away from this idea and this concept of God and the stories behind it. And really, I think it's the theology behind it, right? The myths, the rituals, the stories, and all the things behind it is because now when you look at the history and you become educated, you see that I got a lot more questions, you know, than they are answers, and it's always been the case. But when you logically and rationally look at it and you start asking certain questions, now things become a little bit fuzzy, right? And I think more and more people are starting to kind of wake up, if you want to call it being woke. I wouldn't call it that, but I mean, I guess for the sake of argument, you can. But you know, a lot of people are really starting to, you know, question things, and as you should, right? Nothing should be against questioning. Just like when it comes to law, right? We know that nobody is above the law, including the president, right? But to me, the same thing should apply in life in general. Nobody is above questioning. Nobody is above reasoning and logic. Okay. We're gonna end the episode right there, man. Hopefully you gained a different perspective. Because that's all I try to bring, man. And not, you know, be monotonous and definitely not negative for sure. But please comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the topic. Let me know if you have any topic ideas you would like to share for me to make the case on, and I will definitely do the research and do that. Okay. But man, as always, I appreciate you, man. Continue following the channel. We're just gonna get bigger and bigger and better and better. As always, I'm you, you are me. Love, always love, return. Remember, the worst thing you can do is lie to yourself, and we out. Deuces. One love.